Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Boyd, Alderwoman Davis,
Present.
Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderman Coder,
Here.
Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Oldenburg,
Present.
Alderwoman Boyd,
I'm sorry, present
Chairman Rhodey.
Present.
in the big picture.
5 present, you have 4.
All right. I'd like to excuse the alderman from the 22nd ward. He emailed me and advised me he could not make it today. I have not heard from any of the other committee members, so hopefully they'll be able to join us. We have the minutes from the September 23rd meeting. If you want to review those, and the chair will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the meeting minutes from the September 23rd HUD's committee meeting.
Second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Boyd, Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderman Coder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Chairman Rhodey.
Aye.
5 ayes votes.
Okay, by your motion, you sustained the, by your vote, you sustained the motion of the alderman from the 7th. We have a number of board bills today. What we like to try to do is hold the committee members' boards bills till the end and provide those not on the committee to go first. And then we usually do this in seniority. So I guess at this point, Alderman Vaccaro, who I think has a conflict anyway in a little bit, so we'll provide him the opportunity to go first. Board bill number 101, Alderman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's really simple. We're going to rezone a house on Filer Avenue. It's so that the Circle K can expand. There's no tax abatement. There's nothing too exciting about it. I don't want to talk real long on it, so I would just appreciate a do pass recommendation on Board Bill 101. And Mary Hart's there if anybody has questions, but it's pretty simple.
Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm trying to, too many pieces of stuff here. Where's ours? We have a speaker signed up for this, Matt Fogarty. Did you care to speak on this, Matt, or are you just here to answer questions? Is Matt present? Matt Fogarty? You must have, Matt, are you muted?
He's there. I see him. He might be muted. Yeah, he's muted still. Matt, you have to unmute yourself.
He just sent a message, said he doesn't want to, he don't want to talk.
Okay. Okay, if there's no further comment, we'll provide the Alderwoman Davis. I think you're the ranking member present. Yeah, any questions?
No questions, sir.
Alderman Boyd's Alderwoman Hubbard, has she joined us yet? Alderman Kotar, do you have any questions?
Sorry, we're zoning from what to what? Maybe I missed that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. From a neighborhood commercial, from single family to F neighborhood commercial.
Okay, no question. No further questions. Thanks.
Alderwoman Spencer, has Alderwoman Spencer joined us yet?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
Alderman Oldenburg,
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
Alderwoman Boyd.
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, the chair will entertain a motion to pass out of committee Board Bill number 101.
Move that we adopt Board Bill 101 with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 7th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 21st.
Request previous roll.
Stop. 27.
27th, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Alderwoman, I know better. Then moved and seconded. I'm going to object to the previous roll. I don't believe we had Alderwoman Spencer with us. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Boyd, Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderman Coder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Chairman Rhodey.
Aye.
6 ayes votes.
Thank you guys for your vote.
Okay. Next up, a non-committee member is Alderwoman from the 28th. And Board Bill number Board Bill number
61.
61, excuse me, 61. Item, yeah. Go ahead, Alderwoman.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. So Board Bill 61 is regarding the Expo at Forest Park project. This is a very substantial project, and there is a map in the Board Bill so you can see where it is. This is at the intersection of Forest Park Parkway and Bolivar. And what we are doing is zoning the south parcel of this project, which is currently A, to H. And so what's been previously on this parcel for many, many years is a parking lot that has served MetroLink and a strip mall that has since been demolished. So yes, we need to go from A to H. There's going to be residential and commercial, as well as underground parking to serve the residents, the commercial, and the MetroLink. So I'm happy to answer questions. I also believe Patrick Eckelkamp is on the line to answer any questions that you all may have.
Patrick, did you want to say anything first, or did you want us to go into questions?
Happy to answer any questions. I just wanted to clarify. So going from this A to H, that would just match the existing zoning along to Bolivar there. And so actually the property is dual zoned. From the western half of the property, which is a small portion, is just A, and the remaining part of that is H. I think, and that's a relic of when Metro acquired the property and it just never got totally rezoned. So we've been working in conjunction with Mary Harper's office, as well as the planning department and Alderwoman Navarro, as she mentioned. I just want to mention that this was approved 8-0 in at the Planning Commission to recommend this rezoning. So would just ask for your favorable consideration, and Mr. Chairman, happy to answer any questions that come up today.
Yeah, is this for a project that's already been, I know there's a lot of activity going on out at that intersection or in that general area there. Is this for a project that's already been before the committee? I'm a little confused on each of the projects.
Yeah. So Mr. Chairman, yeah, so you would have seen this back in November of 19. We did there was a TIF approved for that in November of 19. And then it came before the full board, obviously, for that TIF approval. And then there was a community improvement district that was approved. Sorry, losing track of time with COVID, but in June of this year, there was a SID that was approved in connection with this project. So yes, it's been before your committee specifically one time, before the whole board twice. So yes, this project has been in front of the board several
Okay,
times.
I just get the corners, thank you, I get the corners confused. I know that there's a bit of a disagreement or something about one of the lots out there at one of our board meetings, and I was kind of confused about the geography. Are there any questions of either the sponsor or members of the committee? Sounds like we've already kind of dealt with this. Alderwoman Davis,
No questions.
Alderman Kotar, Alderman Kotar.
Sorry, I was muted. No questions.
Okay. Alderwoman Spencer,
No questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Alderman Oldenburg,
No questions.
Alderwoman Boyd,
No questions.
and Alderwoman Hubbard has not joined us yet, has she? I haven't seen her. Okay. If there are no other questions, the chair will entertain a motion that we pass out of committee board bill number 61.
Move that we adopt Board Bill 61 with a due pass recommendation.
It's been moved.
Second.
Second,
Previous roll.
press for previous roll. Hearing no objections, we'll consider board bill number 61 as heard and pass out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now we're all into board bills that are sponsored by committee members. Do we have any speakers lined up for any of these? Let's do board bill number 99. Mary, can you step up and kind of walk us through this? This is one that I'm sponsoring.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So Board Bill 99 is rezoning of one parcel from K to the J Industrial District. It's 510 South Sarah. The applicant is proposing to rezone this parcel to the J Industrial District so that they can consolidate it with 8 adjacent parcels that are already Zone J. The purpose for the consolidation is that they want to construct an off-street surface parking lot with approximately 200 parking spaces. The parking lot will be used in the short term to service various construction projects that are going on in this area. And then in the long term, the owners see this as being a future site that will be developed. It'll be supporting parking for different construction projects in the Cortex district and then also throughout the Grove area. There's a lot going on there, as we all know. We have with us today on our speaker list also representing Cortex, Mr. Mike Sullivan. If the committee would have any questions that neither myself or Alderman Rohde could answer about the project.
I'd just like to say that we frequently, or I frequently at least, receive criticisms about Cortex and the surface parking over there. And I just want to say that when we're putting this surface parking lot, this is not a long-term plan to have that surface parking. Surface parking is just an inexpensive way of holding ground until we have the demand to build another building. And Cortex has been very committed to, supporting increased density in that part of town. Obviously, we went through the effort of getting a new Metrolink stop put in there. So this is, while we're using it as a parking currently, it's not the long-term intent to have that stay parking. Actually, we're looking forward to a time when Sarah becomes kind of a major pedestrian connector that would extend all the way, to the Shaw neighborhood, and we're investing very heavily in that. I guess I'll be glad to answer any questions, or if anybody has, any committee members have questions for Mary, myself, or Mike Sullivan, who I believe is standing by. Mike, did you want to add anything before we get into questions?
No, just to thank Mary and the zoning group, the planning commission. We had a hearing on February of this year, and it was unanimously recommended approval. And thanks to this committee for your time and all the support.
Thanks, Mike. Alderwoman Davis, any questions?
No questions, sir.
Alderman Kotar,
No questions.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Questions?
Alderman Oldenburg,
No, sir, no questions.
Alderwoman Boyd.
No questions.
Hearing no questions, the chair will entertain a motion that we pass out of committee Board Bill number 99.
I
So
move that we
moved.
second.
Previous.
Previous roll. Hearing no objections, we'll consider Board Bill number 99 committee with a due pass recommendation.
Thank you, Chairman.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Alderwoman Spencer, you want to take up your bill, Board Bill number 103?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Board Bill 103 is a rezoning of a couple of parcels in the Gravely Park neighborhood. We have the developer here on the line. So if I could turn it over to Mr. Schwartz of the Blackline Construction.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a pretty simple rezoning request to bring two parcels in line with their current and future use. One, the northernmost parcel is a historic building that we developed into 15 units a few years ago. And now we are seeking to build a new multifamily building, 12 units on the other parcel. So the entire block, this fits in with the use of the entire block. I'm happy to answer any questions about what our plans are, and I appreciate everybody's consideration.
Alderwoman, if you have no other comments, we'll go through the committee. You have any other comments, Alderwoman? Or
I'll just add this, Mr. Chair. We're going to be doing some new construction here in the Gravely Park neighborhood at this site, and that's pretty exciting for the neighborhood. I think this is a very, very good development for the south side of St. Louis, and in particular, the Gravely Park neighborhood.
great, congratulations, Alderwoman. Alderwoman Davis, any questions?
No questions, sir.
Alderwoman Hubbard, I presume, is still not present, is she? If not, Alderman Kotar.
No questions.
Alderman Oldenburg.
No questions. Thank you.
Alderwoman Boyd.
No questions.
Hearing no other questions, the chair will entertain a motion to pass out of committee with a due pass recommendation, Board Bill number 103.
I move that we adopt Board Bill 103 with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous.
It's been moved, seconded, and a request for previous roll. Hearing no objection, we'll consider Board Bill number 103 as heard and pass out of committee with a due pass recommendation. See, I guess I got a couple more here. How about, see, we did 99 and we got Alderman Boyd's as well we have to get to. Why don't we just do 102 real quick? Mary, if you can step up for that. Oh, that's another one in Cortex. I'm sorry. Mike's probably still on the phone. Mary, do you want to walk us through 102, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. So this is a rezoning at 235 through 239 South Boyle, 4317 through 4347 Duncan Avenue. This is, again, another project in the Cortex district, and I believe we have Mike Devine on the line as a speaker or someone who can answer questions in regard to this project. It involves consolidation of 8 parcels that are currently Zone J. The rezoning is being requested to rezone from J Industrial District to the H Area Commercial District. That would allow for a 6-story mixed-use building with approximately 9,500 square feet of commercial space, 262 residential units, and an affiliated parking structure with approximately 260 parking spaces. Currently, the parcels are Zone J. J does, while it would allow for any kind of commercial use or the parking, the J district does not allow for the residential use. And so that is the reason for the rezoning, so that it can allow for the project to include both residential and commercial. Any questions from the committee?
Other than just, I'd like to comment that this is an example of, this is actually a surface parking lot and is consistent with the private strategy that I previously mentioned. So the plan is to take a surface parking lot and put up a building in its place. Mike, are you available? Is Mike Devine on?
Mr. Chairman, this is Mark Brady. I'm an attorney with the Polsinelli firm. I'm working with the development team. I know Mike Devine is here on behalf of the development team as well. I don't know if Mike Sullivan has remained on the line, but Mike Devine and I are both available to answer any questions regarding this particular project.
I apologize. Mike Devine, did you have anything to say, Mike, before we get into the questions from committee?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if Mr. Devine is maybe muted out, but we appreciate the opportunity to be here, and the Planning Commission did unanimously recommend approval of this project. We think it's consistent with the use and development of surrounding properties in Cortex, and certainly appreciate your support and are here to answer any questions.
Alderwoman Davis, any questions?
No questions, sir.
Alderwoman Hubbard, it's hard to see who's on board here. Alderman Kotar.
No questions.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Alderman Oldenburg.
No questions.
Alderwoman Boyd.
No questions.
Hearing no other questions, the chair will entertain a motion on Board Bill number 102.
Move that we adopt Board Bill 102 with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Been moved,
Previous.
seconded with a request for previous roll. Hearing no objection, we'll consider Board Bill number 102 passed out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Next up, we have Board Bill 104. Mary, you want to walk us through this one then too, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, thank you, or the committee, I'm sorry. So this is a rezoning that is actually initiated by the Planning Commission. This is in the Forest Park Southeast Form-Based District, and in the midst of us approving a permit, a building permit for the Missouri Foundation for Health, we discovered that there had inadvertently been a parcel created that had 2 form-based district zones on it. And in the Forest Park, as well as the Central West End form-based district, it specifically says in the ordinance that parcels are not allowed to have more than 1 form-based zone on them. The way this happened was that an original building permit had been applied for just shortly before the form-based code went into effect. And then due to some unfortunate circumstances, they were not able to follow through with that building permit. And they came back about a year later with a new building permit. And that's when we discovered that in the couple of weeks between the time they applied for the original permit and the form-based code went into effect, that inadvertently parcels that were all under the same ownership got combined, and we didn't realize that it created a dual zone parcel. We know that now, and so we took this back to the Planning Commission and asked them to initiate the rezoning so that we could basically clean up our form-based code regulating plan.
Thank you, Mary. She does a much better job of explaining that than I would have, I assure you. Alderwoman Davis, do you have any questions or?
No questions, sir. Thank you.
Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderman Kotar,
No questions.
Alderwoman Spencer,
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Alderman Oldenburg,
No questions.
Alderwoman Boyd.
I'm sorry, no questions, Mr. Chair, but I do have a request because it seems that Mary Horburton is very tuned into the zoning. Could we have her come back as a guest speaker on a HUD's meeting, please? To
Sure.
kind of explain more in regards to this whole zoning process, since I'm a newbie and I'm still trying to learn this part.
Sure. We can either do that, or I'm sure we could. Well, let's deal with this board bill out. We'll bring take that up in just a second.
Okay.
Hearing no other questions, the chair will recognize a motion to pass out of committee board bill number 104.
I move that we adopt Board Bill 104 with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous.
And moved, seconded, and a request for the previous roll. Hearing no objections, we'll consider board bill number 104 is heard and passed out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Mary, I think the Alderwoman from the 27th has a good point. Could you kind of prepare like a 5 or 10 minute presentation on what requires zoning hearings, what requires an ordinance, the process, how it has to go through planning commission, and then.
So the process for a rezoning, or the process for going through Board of Adjustment, conditional use, or all of that?
Yeah, just kind of,
There's a
kind
whole
of
bunch of it.
overall, kind of a one, I would think you could do that in 5 or 10 minutes with flow charts and stuff, couldn't you, Mary? Or
Oh, you give me way too much credit, but I can figure it out. It'll take more than 5 or 10 minutes, but I can do it.
okay, no, we'll be glad to put you on it. Our next HUD's meeting will be next Wednesday. We have the block grant bill, which is always usually a long one. But we should have another couple meetings coming up before we go down, if that would be all right. Well, in case people haven't seen a pattern to this, what we've been trying to do is cluster the zoning bills all at once, and then try to cluster the development bills, or the incentive bills, the abatement and so forth, SLDC bills, and different, and of course things come up and we have some urgent situations, and so we'll go ahead and throw an occasional meeting in. But the next meeting will be dedicated mostly to the block grant, but we may end up adding a couple bills. We have a Cortex bill that we might add. And then in November, I know that SLDC has a number of bills that they're advertising for that they'd like to have heard. So, I digress. Let's get back to the last of our board bills today is Alderman Boyd's. Alderman Boyd could not be here. Mary, I'm looking again. Board bill number 62.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Board Bill 62 is rezoning at 1297 Amherst Place. This was the result of the applicant applying for a building permit to expand her existing daycare center. The property was Zone B, so it was denied, and she went to the Board of Adjustment. At the Board of Adjustment, it was discovered that the parking for her new building at 1297 Amherst would actually be on the lot next door that was zoned appropriately F neighborhood commercial, and that she intended in the future to consolidate those lots. So the Board of Adjustment, based on that testimony, they granted her variance, but they put a condition on there that she follow through with the rezoning and the consolidation so that her parking would be located on the same lot as her expansion. And so that's what she's here to do today. She's following through with that request from the Board of Adjustment. And we do have Cortiga Collins on the line to answer any questions that I'm not able to answer. So this will be a rezone of Amherst from the B2 family to the F neighborhood commercial so that they can consolidate with the neighboring property.
Okay. Are there any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Miss, is it Miss Collins?
Yes.
Okay, Miss Collins, did you care to speak today at all?
I don't have anything additional to say to the members, committee members. I just would appreciate if you guys would consider approving this request. We are currently in the construction process, and as evidenced by statistics that have been released by Ready by 5 and the first report to equity, there's a great need for high quality early childhood education in this community. And that's our goal, to provide that, to expand the services that we're already providing. There are many underserviced families in this community, and we want to be able to provide access to high quality early childhood education to every child in this community, for which we have the capacity to serve.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Are there any questions of Mary or Ms. Collins? Alderwoman Davis.
Oh, I just want to ask one question, sir. Ms. Collins, can you tell us how long you've been there? I know you took a building that had been sitting there abandoned for a while and put your business there, and we appreciate that. Tell us how long.
Sure. I've been here for 11 years. In March, it'll be 12 years. We got licensed March 27, 2009.
Okay, well, congratulations for, succeeding in your business, and thank you for the service.
Thank you so much, and thank you for acknowledging the work that we do.
Alderwoman Hubbard, I don't believe is present yet. Alderman Kodar, any questions?
No questions.
Alderwoman Spencer.
No questions.
Alderman Oldenburg.
No questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Alderwoman Boyd.
No questions.
Okay, hearing no other questions, the chair will entertain a motion to pass Board Bill number 62 out of committee with a do pass recommendation.
So moved.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 7th.
Second.
Seconded by the Alderwoman from the 27th.
Previous.
There's a request for previous roll by the Alderwoman from the 19th. Hearing no objections, we'll consider Board Bill number 62 is heard and pass out of committee with a do pass recommendation. One last thing before we get off, I've talked to several committee members about this, and what kind of an issue that concerns me, and I wanted to share it with all of you, and then I had a discussion this last week. As I presume everyone knows, we are engaged in the city is one of 3 plaintiffs in a lawsuit against the NFL regarding the stadium, our proposal for the stadium. And what concerns me is the decision process on terms of settlement, how to settle, who decides, if, and we're kind of very, I think we need to, there's no potential settlement out there, no discussion about division or anything like that. And yet if we reflect upon it, the original stadium was completed with 50% state money, 25% county, and 25% city. The lawsuit, as I understand it, is filed by St. Louis County and St. Louis City and what's the sports authorities, the sports, whatever the acronym is for the sports authority, RSA, I guess, Regional Sports Authority. I had considered asking them in front of the committee. I was advised that any correspondence with representatives of the RSA would be discoverable and, may end up hurting our hurting our lawsuit by, discussing settlement prematurely or, just a whole variety of things. However, I did have a conversation with attorneys, which I believe is considered privileged. So, but I think it's kind of important. I was wanting to do something to kind of begin developing an institutional memory. What I would be concerned about is that at some point some settlements reached and we're not involved in it, or the proceeds, the state of Missouri, for example, isn't a plaintiff in the lawsuit. There's just a number of things about it that concerns me a little bit, and I'm not really sure the right way to bring them up. I guess we could go into executive session. I think that's that's one of the exceptions to the sunshine rule to get brief, but I didn't know how strongly the committee felt about, beginning a discussion. I certainly don't want to damage the lawsuit. I've spoken a bit to Mike Garvin about it, and he was on our call as well. And I just kind of feel strongly that the state initially invested that money in the St. Louis region as an economic development in support of our economic development efforts. I think, the interest by the St. Louis at this point of doing anything with the NFL is pretty remote. And, the county, for example, did not participate in offering the proposal. They felt that for whatever reason, they had no interest in participating in a proposal, but for that proposal, we probably wouldn't have a basis of action. And so I just feel strongly that we should really keep an eye on whatever that might be, what's going on there. It's certainly no settlement discussions or anything like that. It's we've been, at least in that court case, we weren't very successful with the practice facility. But in this case, it's my understanding that we've been successful in every appearance before the any of the courts. So as everybody, I think this is all common knowledge. So we're not obviously discussing anything that's privileged. It's all in the newspaper. But the latest thing is we've won access or the ability to discovery. With the NFL owners. So in many ways, I think the lawsuit's, going favorably, but, I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about, certainly nothing to discuss substantively, but I think it's important for all of us to kind of keep an eye on that, and hopefully we wouldn't be in a position where we read about the settlement in the newspaper, unexpectedly one day. So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that or comments to make, but I felt like it's important that the legislative body in the city at least lets some of the people involved in discussions know that we're watching this thing, and we don't want to be ignored. So I don't know if anybody has anything to say or comments, but otherwise, I don't have anything else today. Anybody else have anything to say? Or okay, well,
Chairman Rhodey,
yes.
I received an email from the clerk saying that Alderwoman Hubbard is requesting to be excused. She's out of town.
Okay. Great. So we would like to excuse the alderman from the 22nd and the alderwoman from the 5th for their necessary absences. Is there anything else? Hearing no other comments, we'll consider today's meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.